The AmaZulu queens and their children just briefed the media about succession issues in the Royal House. They've been silent while mourning the passing of Queen Mantfombi Dlamini-Zulu. Last month, the High Court postponed a case brought by some of the late King Zwelithini's children. They were challenging the signature on their father's will. Senior reporter Siphamandla Goge is at the Kwakhangela Mankengane Royal House in Ngoma. He joins us now. Siphamandla, what's the latest from that press briefing?
We're coming to you live from Mthandayo Royal Palace. It's still in Ngoma. Kwakhangela Mankengane is where we were yesterday when Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi, who's the traditional Prime Minister of the Zulu Nation, addressed the media. So today it was round 2 at Mthandayo Royal Palace. This is where the late King Zwelithini Zulu's memorial service was held. So this is where he lived after being coronated in 1971. So today's briefing at Mthandayo Royal Palace was mainly for the Zulu royal family members to tell the nation that the mourning period is over now. It was a 3-month period that was basically, those were the wishes of the late king. He said his wives should not mourn him for a very long time so that they can get on with their lives, and also Zulu royal family members must not mourn for a very long period of time. So that mourning period officially ended officially yesterday, and there were also certain rituals, including the hunt ritual, which is known in isiZulu as ukuphuminqina, where a group of men will go and hunt wild animals and bring those into the palace. The meat will be consumed, and then whatever skins of those animals that they would have hunted, those will be reserved for the next king who will take over the throne. And that is very significant because after that there has to be the washing of the late king's traditional weapons, the spear as well as the shield. All of those will be handed over to the next king. But the gist of today's briefing, which was basically chaired by Princess Nombuso. Princess Nombuso is the late king's first daughter. So she's the one who was chairing the briefing. On her right-hand side, there was Prince Phumuzu Zulu of Walindu Zulu, and then they were flanked by Prince Mbonisi, who is the late king's brother, as well as Princess Thembi, who is the late king's sister. So they were showing a united front as the other faction of the Zulu royal family, saying, well, they have not touched the issue of succession yet. They were just observing this mourning period. Now that it's over, they will resume their royal duties, but most importantly, they will start to be seized with the matter of succession. Now, that is very interesting to some people, strange to others as well, because our viewers would recall that in the mix there is Misuzulu, King Misuzulu, so who is already on the throne according to the traditional Prime Minister of the Zulu Nation, even though they did not pronounce boldly. But I can tell you that their statement simply says they do not recognize King Misuzulu. They say that issue has not been discussed. They were mourning. Now that they are done with the mourning period, they will start to be seized with the matter of succession. That tells you that this is far from over. Also, interestingly, notably in this press briefing, there was Prince Magade. Prince Magade is the late king's firstborn son. He is also the one who is said to be contesting the throne. Interestingly, after the briefing, he is the one who was asked to give a salutation to close the briefing, and is the one who was leading basically that salutation, saying Bayete, Bayete, Wena Wendlovu. And his presence here is very interesting because he is said to be contesting the throne. There was confusion about Prince Magade when he wrote a letter, sent it to Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi read that statement from Princess Magade saying he is not contesting the throne. Later on, he issued a statement saying, well, it was not a true reflection of his statement. He never said that. The only thing he said is if there are some within the Zulu royal family who want him to be considered for the throne, he will never say no. Of course, for now, he's not giving media interviews, but his presence here today was very significant because it tells you that this other faction that wants him to take over was well represented here. And on the other side, the fact that the late king's siblings blessed this media briefing and gathering tells you that the other faction as well is becoming more and more stronger. So divisions are deep, they are visible. Yes, Zulu royal family members are trying to dispute that, but it's a fact that they are deeply divided. The question is, what now? We also asked them about the issue of the pending court case. Yesterday was the deadline for the filing of the affidavits. The Queen from here, Kwakheto Mthandayo Royal Palace, is challenging the late King's estate. She wants 50% of that, and she wants the court to clarify her marriage status to the late King. She argues that it was a civil union, so that matter is still pending. And also 2 princesses from the very same palace where we are contesting and challenging the late King's will. They are saying the signature there, they are arguing that it may have been forged. So you've got this pending legal battle. At the same time, you've got this royal battle that is playing out here. At the center of it all is the throne. It tells you that the coronation of the new king of AmaZulu will not happen anytime soon.
I was just about to ask you that, Siphamandla, whether there's any likelihood of the faction supporting King MisuZulu to push through a coronation quickly now that mourning period is over amidst these ongoing contestations.
Now, the coronation will not happen anytime soon because in order for the certificate of recognition to be issued out by the presidency, usually this is how the system works in terms of Traditional Governance Act. So the Zulu royal family members, they need to submit minutes to the office of the Premier in KwaZulu-Natal, that is Premier Sihle Zikalala. He needs to take those minutes of the meeting with a possible successor, the name there, take those minutes to the Ministry of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs. Then the Ministry of Traditional Affairs will take that to the presidency for the president to sign a certificate of recognition. Now that it's clear that there is a dispute, you've got more than 4 factions here claiming, the throne. One, King MisuZulu, who is on the throne according to Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. Traditionally, when the will was read, King MisuZulu basically ascended to the throne. You've got the issue of Princess Magade, who is the king's firstborn son, who says, I'm also on the running. And then on the other side, you've got another house from the Zulu royal household, which is Kwakambushilo. They also say, hang on, traditionally the throne belongs to this house. We want what we call historical redress as well. On the other side, the late Prince Lethuthula, who passed away in Johannesburg, left behind a son. So some from Kwakheto Mthandayo Royal Palace say that son should be considered because Prince Lethuthula was the king's firstborn son in terms of the queen here, which is Queen Madlamini, not related to the late Queen Mantfombi. So it's complicated, and it tells you that it's not going to be resolved anytime soon. Hence, the issue of coronation is in limbo for now, because with all that dispute that is going on, the certificate of recognition cannot be signed as this rages on. So for now, it's a question of the royal family coming up together, uniting and sending through one candidate for the certificate of recognition to be signed. Up until that happens, there will not be any coronation.